Nothing can wreck a run faster than stomach irritation. I was never able to find an endurance drink that didn't upset my stomach until I found Sword. Whether it's berry, orange, or my favorite, ginger citrus, Sword fuels my runs with no stomach issues. All natural ingredients with no colors, no artificial flavors, no artificial sweeteners, and no artificial preservatives. That's why I choose Sword Endurance Drink Mix.
Welcome to the Heartland Running Podcast. Join Stephen and Andy as they explore the running community in the Ozarks and beyond.
All right, everybody, and welcome to the show. I'm Stephen.
And I'm Andy.
And I'm Crystal.
And we are the hosts that taste so good that cats ask for us by name.
Nice.
You like that one? I had came up with that one. All right.
I like it.
Well, we are honored today to have Miss Crystal Clark join us on the show. Many of you may know her from the Facebook group and from Instagram, which I believe you just changed your Instagram, correct?
I finally got around to changing it, yes. So I'm now officially See Crystal Run.
All right. So check that out if you're not already following her. She posts good stuff. But anyways, we invited Miss Crystal on this show because we kind of want to bring her into the family because Andy and I realized running podcasts are sexist. Almost none of them have.
I really think that there's a little bit too much testosterone on the Heartland Running Podcast. And I think we need to get a little estrogen in here so that way we can balance things out.
Well, we are all man.
I kind of feel like I'm the girl that kind of like snuck into the boys' clubhouse or something, though.
We'll have you farting and burping in no time. But we'd like to get everybody to know Miss Crystal a little bit. So, Crystal, we're going to turn things over to you for a second. And if you could just give us a brief summary of your running background. When did you start? Why did you start? Why do you keep doing this stupid sport?
Well, you know, I always feel like when you ask somebody how they got into running, everybody has these like really cool, inspirational, motivational stories. You look at you guys, you know, with the weight loss, taking control of your health. You hear about these people who are running, you know, because they've lost family members, all these types of things. I started running because I drank too much at a company picnic.
Oh, this could be good.
Beer logic convinced me that I could go from 0 to running a half marathon in 8 weeks.
Sounds like a plan. Maybe not a good one, but a plan.
Yeah. And so I did it. I will tell you, I was so green and so inexperienced that I was in the middle, well, probably, you know, the last 2/3 of the half marathon when I found out how long it actually was and discovered it was longer than I thought it was going to be. But I finished it. I ran every step of it and kind of just kept going from there. And that was way back. When would that have been? 2002.
Wow.
So
now I got to ask because I've said and claimed a lot of stupid stuff when drinking beer. But the next morning I'd be like, oh, never mind. What made you go like, nope, I said it. I'm going to do it.
Yeah, I don't, you know, it was one of those things because it was a girl that I worked with and she was getting ready to run another half marathon she'd been training for. And so this was August and her race was in September. And I had enough logic going, oh, well, I can't get ready in 4 weeks. That, you know, that was absurd. But 8 weeks, that was plenty of time. And I saw her the next day and kind of that was way back when they still had like the running brochures. Mm-hmm. And so you got the pamphlets on the rate, like everything was in print. And, you know, I got a hold of it and I knew that if I didn't sign up on that day, I would never do it. So I went ahead and did it.
Now, were you in pretty good shape then in general? No? I guess the beer might should have tipped me off.
No, not at all. And I have no athletic background. I can't play team sports because I have absolutely no coordination. I was the kid whose mom would write the notes to get her out of gym. I almost failed gym. So yeah.
Now,
I owe my running to beer.
Well, hey, see, beer is good. Like I always say, remember, beer contains food value, but food has no beer value. It's an important tip.
There's your public service announcement.
That's our PSA for this episode. Now, were you hooked after that, or was it quite a while before your next adventure?
Oh no, I was hooked. I crossed that. I was in so much pain, but I felt like I just won the Olympics. I thought it was the coolest thing ever.
That's great, because after my first half marathon, I actually I crumpled up against the fence, and I was like laying on the ground with my head like on the asphalt, and then I kind of just slightly picked it up a little bit. And my wife was standing there just looking at me. And I'm just like, I will never ever do this again.
So typical Friday night for you.
That night I was signing up for my next one. I'm glad that you crossed the finish line, with a positive attitude, because that was just the exact opposite of how I felt.
Oh boy! Now, Crystal? What is the biggest achievement for you? What's the one that you're most proud of?
I kind of have two. And there's two moments that when I crossed that finish line, it was a holy crap, I can't believe I did it moment. And the first one for me is qualifying for Boston. It was in my second marathon. My first marathon, again, it was such a great experience. And it was 5 months before my second one. And it was such a great experience that, again, this was not Beer Logic. This was running logic. I don't know, whatever. I was on the running high, and I thought, you know what? I can shave off 20 minutes in 5 months for my second marathon and qualify for Boston. And I had myself convinced that I could do it. And when I crossed that line, and everything was just perfect that day. And when I crossed that line and I had 2 minutes to spare, it was holy crap, I did it.
Now, what year did you qualify for Boston in?
So again, these all go back a long time. So that was in 2003.
Okay. So hang on. So a year after you started running, you qualified for Boston.
Yeah. Oh, wait, no, you know what? So I take it back. My first half marathon would have been in 2001, because I did a half marathon in 2001, half marathon in 2002, and then started marathons in 2003.
Okay. Same difference. So in 2 years from starting to run, you qualified for Boston. And is she showing us up?
That's just amazing to me, because just to start running and then just to advance that quickly is mind blowing to me, because I look at what my path has to be from where I started, which I think I started pretty good, but to go that fast to get to Boston, to get to that qualifying standard, I don't see a path that's anywhere near that fast. That's just amazing. Just congratulations. That's amazing.
Oh, thanks. But, also keep in mind, I was in my 20s when I did it. So
that does help.
Yeah, but you have to run it in like 8 minutes when you're in your 20s.
Oh, that's true.
Now, you had, if I remember a certain Facebook post, you had a good reason to finish the Boston, didn't you?
Yes.
You had go ahead. I won't spoil it.
Yeah. So so qualified in 2003. And luckily back then, because it was so long ago, that if you got a qualifying time, you were guaranteed entry. And as it happened at the time, my fiance also gained entry into the Boston Marathon, and we were trying to decide how we were going to do it. And we decided we were going to get married at the finish of Boston, and that's what we did.
All right, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Were there lots of, obviously there were lots of people around, but was the crowd engaged with the ceremony, or?
Yeah, so what ended up happening, because that was back to, again, because it was so long ago, that's back when Boston had the noon start time. So they bust you up hours ahead of time, and you were up in Athletes Village, and they interviewed us on the news. And my now husband at the time let everybody know exactly where we were going to be getting married, and we had crowds show up for it. And it was very, very cool.
That is awesome. I always figured if I ever got remarried, I'd do it at the end of a race, but no woman wants me.
Well, but I'll also give you a warning about getting married at the finish of a marathon. So it was a noon start.
Don't kiss me.
No, it's worse than that. It was record temperatures. So it was in the 80s, and you're running through the middle of the afternoon, and people are dropping and stuff. But it's fine. We got married, and I had heat stroke, whatever it was. We got back up to the room. I threw up and went to bed. And that was our wedding night.
Nice honeymoon.
Bow chicka wow wow. Yeah, I just said that. You may kiss the bride and you look at each other all sweaty. That's all right. I've done that before. Right? Oh boy, that is funny. So what are your future goals? I know what's coming up big for you next? Because we actually share this goal.
Absolutely. And so for me, this is finally the year I'm going to have my 100-mile finish. And I'm very excited because, as you mentioned, we found out we are training for the same race. Mm-hmm. And so it will be Tunnel Hill 100 in November.
You're right. We couldn't talk Andy into that one. He just flat out said no.
I have absolutely no desire to run 100 miles. I mean, it is not even anywhere in my mind that I'm thinking, this is something I want to do. No, absolutely not. I am not running 100 miles. Absolutely not.
So no 100 and no getting wet.
No, will not get wet.
All right.
No. So no triathlons. So yeah, I'm pretty picky. Sorry.
So Crystal, I guess my last question on the list for you is, why would you ever agree to come on and try podcasting?
So I figure, why not? It's a chance to sit around, gab about running. And I figure if I just really suck, you just edit me out and we walk away and pretend nothing ever happened. So it's all good.
Oh, I have a feeling either Andy or I will be edited out.
So then maybe my master plan is to just take over.
More sleep for me. This might work out. Well, let's get into some updates. Andy, you had a little event this past Sunday, the Rally 66.
Yeah, this last Sunday, I did a friend of mine and I, we co-directed the Rally 66 Ranger Run. And so if you want to hear more information about that, you can listen to our previous episodes, which if you're listening to this one, you should have already listened to the previous episodes. But things went really well. I was really excited about it. I can go on and on and on about, the good things that happened. But the number one most important thing is I sent my 7-year-old son out on his own on his first 5K, and he PR'd. Super excited about that. It's one thing to be pacing along with Dad, and Dad, you're working with him with his run, walk, and keeping him moving along, and giving him positive words of encouragement. But I sent him out on his own. It's like, let's see what you can do, and he did excellent. And I think his time was 37:46. Which, for a 7-year-old, I don't think that's too terribly bad. On his own, by himself out there for 3.1 miles. That's a long time for a little kid with really short legs. And he did really great. And I was able to be there at the finish line because since I was directing the race, I had my responsibilities there. And I think it was maybe about 10 minutes after I sent him out on the race going, holy crap, I just sent my 7-year-old out by himself out on the roads. And so I was very happy to see him coming up that last hill because there's a little bit of an incline coming up to the finish line. And he was coming up there. And whenever I just caught a glimpse of him, that's whenever he was putting the steam on. And so he listened to what I said. He paced himself and he took walk breaks whenever he felt like he needed them. And whenever he got to the end, he had enough for a very strong finish kick, and he came flying through that finish line, and he gave it his all. So super proud of the little guy, and I was able to give him his medal. And anyway, he's excited about trying this next one. But the rest of the event went really well. I'm really excited to put this on, and anyone who thinks that they want to put on a race, you need to really think very strongly about it because it is a very long process. It's a very difficult process. It's also very risky on the amount of money that you're going to spend to put this event on. And then also you risk the weather. That's a big thing.
And we'll get into that.
We're going to talk about here a little bit later. That was a factor for Steven and also kind of factored in this race because the night before, I probably only got about a half an hour's sleep just because I was just constantly up looking at the radar. And I know that our last rainstorm came through about 30 minutes before the race started, then cleared out and everything was just fine. But prior to that, we had probably 36 hours worth of solid rain. Very bad flooding. It was 12 hours before the race started, and I had the police department call me up and say, "Hey, you need to have a alternative route put together because we might have some flooding on the route." And so that was something that I was stressed about because to them it's like, "Hey, just change your route." Well, that's not really all that easy because I've got 22 volunteers that I have scheduled to be at certain intersections out on the route to make sure that everyone's going exactly where they're supposed to be going. And it's really difficult to make that change. And so that was one of the things that I was stressing about, that if we did have flooding on the route, then I'm going to have to make sure that all these people are going to be where they're supposed to be. I'm going to have to make sure that my people who are policing the route, who are following the last of the runners, the start of the runners, are making sure that they're supposed to be where they are supposed to be. And if they're not, then all of a sudden I could send, which we had 80 participants, which was pretty good. I was pretty happy about that. But you could send out 80 people, and I don't know if they're going to come back or not. so that's the big stressful thing about that. But either way, long story short, everything turned out just fine. Everything went off perfectly without a hitch. And we had a lot of people have a really good time, have a really good day, and some pretty good in great, nice, cool temperatures. Had a little bit of a mist about the middle of the race, but other than that, not a problem at all. And I guess the most important thing to me is that, yes, we had a good time, and we had fun, and and people were able to come have the race and, have a great time. But the important thing is we raised a lot of money. And this was in conjunction with a car show that we also put on at our church with the race. And we were able to raise, I'm not going to say here in the podcast, but it was quite a large sum of money between the runners and the sponsors that we had. We had some really good sponsors that were extremely generous. And this went to Peterson Outdoor Ministries, which is very similar to Wounded Warrior. They're very efficient in the money that they spend. And so what costs Wounded Warriors maybe $10,000 to do, this organization can do for $1,000. And they're able to take these veterans that have injuries, PTSD, take them on hunting trips, fishing trips, whatever it is that they feel like they need in their life to give themselves a little bit of comfort, then that's what Peterson does. And it's really great because, there's such an epidemic in the country right now that every day, 22 veterans commit suicide. And we're just trying to do our best to get that number down. And with this money that we raised, if we affect one life, then the 6 months of planning, the 3 nights of not sleeping, and just the incredible work that it takes to put on this event, then it's all worth it. And so I'm super excited about the outcome, and I'm just glad to do my part.
That's awesome. But Andy, I need to back up for a second. When your son crossed the finish line, did he give you that look? Did he lock eyes and give you that "you're going down, old man" look? I got my sight on you. I'm gonna take down the lion here in a couple of years. You're no longer gonna lead the pride type look.
I tell you what, the little kid's spooky fast. He really is. And he'll, usually every couple of weeks, he's like, "Dad, we need to go to the track." And it's like, "Okay, we'll go to the track." And so, he'll go off, and I'm not one of those dads that pressures him or anything like that. It's just like, go out and do whatever you want to do. That's fine. Just go out and have fun, run some laps, and, keep track of your laps, and we'll keep track of your miles. And, I'll go out and I'll do my speed work, something specific. But he's always really wanting to get out there and go and run. And sometimes I've got to slow him down, but that time's going to come where he's going to say, "Dad, let's line up and see what happens." And I think he's
so he's gunning for you,
make me look bad.
Yeah, but that's kind of a moment of pride.
I can't wait.
Yeah, that's kind of a moment of pride. Now, Crystal, you have a youngin', don't you?
I do. I have 2 significantly older stepsons who are grown and out. And then I also have a son who's getting ready to turn 10, and he is not a runner. Not a runner. As he likes to put it, "Mom, that's your thing."
Well, as people know, I have 2 older, one's 17, one's 18 now. My 18-year-old runs, but just as part of a weekly fitness thing. He has his couple run days, but not a runner. So, Andy, I believe your son will be the heir to the Heartland running throne.
I'm pretty sure he will be. He loves it. Absolutely loves it.
That's great. I think that's a good thing to try to instill into your kids. And even if they're not into running, I think it's important they see us as parents doing that type of things so they can go, "You know what? I can do something great too." Maybe it's not running, maybe it's rock climbing or whatever it is.
I think it's an influence thing that, I really love the fact that my children are growing up in a household where Dad goes out on a Saturday morning to run 15 miles, and that's normal. That's not something that's
Yeah, that's not normal.
extraordinary. That's just what Dad does. And then that lets them look at themselves and think, hey, I can do anything that I want to. I can do anything that I put my mind to. And, my little guy, he's told me that, I can't wait until I'm old enough to be on the cross country team. And so I actually said that to the middle school cross country coach. And he's like, no kid says that. Are you serious? I'm like, yeah, he really wants to be on it. Which, ironically, in the race, the cross country coach, he actually won it. So he came through in a pretty good time. I can't remember what his time was, but I think it was 18 something. It was pretty quick.
So now you two are both married. I'm not. So I was kind of thinking of an old joke, and I won't tell the joke. But if you came home late from a long run and your spouse said, "Where were you?" If you're like, "I was out having an affair," they just go, "BS, you were out running, weren't you?"
You don't have time for an affair.
Fair. I know you. Oh boy. But anyways, this past weekend, I was scheduled to run a 50-mile ultra, the Frisco 50. And unfortunately, it was the day before Andy's race, and we got pummeled with weather. Now I won't exaggerate it. To be honest, I kind of touched on this a couple episodes ago. I really wasn't looking forward to this race because I was feeling burnt out. And I'll admit I was even kind of looking for excuses not to run it. But anyways, Friday night, I said, you know what? I signed up for it. I trained for it. I'm going to run it. If it's good, bad, whatever. So all week they've been saying, bad storms coming in and whatnot. And the storms actually woke me up about midnight, but then they kind of went away. So I got up at 2, 8, got ready and everything. And at 3:30, I started heading out because it's roughly an hour drive and I figured it's going to be delayed. So gassed up the car and everything, got coffee. I wasn't 3 miles down the road and the hailstorm from hell started. I mean, the hail was so big and coming down so fast. One, you couldn't see. I thought the windshield of my car was going to crack. It was coming down. So I turned around. I would say it took almost 20 minutes to drive. By that time, it was probably 3 miles back to town just because I couldn't see. So I'm just putt-putting. Got home. I got on Facebook because I knew there were some other people from the area where I'm at, that we're going to have at least an hour drive from any direction. And I'm like, don't go. It's just not safe. And I think about 5:30 in the morning, they finally canceled the race. So something I kind of wanted to talk about is there's that fine line between being hardcore and just stupid. And I'm kind of interested, where do you two draw that line? Either one of you.
I'm not sure I'm a good one. We've established that my logic isn't always the best logic.
Well, if you have a beer, we know not to ask your opinion.
That's right. So my sober opinion. Now, for me, I will run in pretty much anything except for lightning. Lightning freaks me out, and I won't do it. Outside of that, the hail would have been tough because that just hurts when it's softball size. Actually, it hurts when it's pea size. Never mind. I could probably tough it out, but no lightning. Yeah. No way.
Okay, me, I am a wuss, and I will be the first one to admit it. Now, I used to, probably maybe a couple years ago, I would run in anything, absolutely anything. But I've gotten to the point now to where, I just don't want to deal with the bad weather. I mean, I have a very, very good quality relationship with the treadmill, and I have no problem with hopping on the treadmill.
But we're talking races here. You've paid your money.
You're talking races.
Yeah, you paid your money. You've trained. Races on. Where would you go? Even if it's not canceled, would you?
I would say there's probably a pretty good chance that I'm gonna run it if it's not canceled. But I'm going to seriously lower my intensity level. Me as a runner, I don't run a lot of races. I really condense my races down to, ones that I really seriously want to be competitive at. And so I would really dial it back just because if it's not going to be great conditions, then I'm not going to push it. And so, yes, I will do it, but I'm not going to hit it hard.
I pretty much agree. Now this was put on by the Ozark Mountain Ridge Runners, which is a fantastic organization based out of Springfield. Missouri, and they did say that anyone that was registered this year will automatically be registered for next year, which most races won't do. Most of them have we cancel for weather, you're just out of luck.
Mm-hmm.
So I would like to kind of put a call out for anyone listening that was supposed to run this. As Andy had stated with Rally 66, it's expensive to put on a race. And they put on these races to, one, support the organization, and two, they give back too. They give it for trail maintenance or another local charity. So if you have the means, for me personally, I'm just considering the race via donation. And next year I'm planning on running it again, and I will purchase another ticket. So I'd like to ask people, if you have the means to do that, to please do that, because if everyone shows up next year, that means pretty much no one's paid for the event, and they've had to pay for it 2 years in a row. So, if you've saved up for years to run this race, okay, fine. But if you have the means, definitely just consider it a donation and pay again next year, please.
Absolutely, because there's a lot of capital that goes into putting on one of these races, and that if you're not going back in there, then that's got to come out of someone's pocket, because it will cost more to put on a race than the money that you make on it. I mean, you'll bring money in, you'll pay for your expenses, and then you'll give what's left over to whatever your benefit is. But I mean, it costs so much more to put on a race than it does the money that you make for it. And so in this situation here, if that doesn't happen, then that's coming out of someone's pocket, and most likely it's going to be the race director, or they're going to be trying to hunt down extra sponsors so that way they can cover that. So yeah, that's very important.
So Andy, let's get an update on your project PR. Is your little pity toe all better now, or?
Well, yes. My broken toe is a lot better now. This has been kind of a little personal struggle for me, because I went into this really excited. I was really wanted to drop that PR on that half marathon, and I'm not saying that all is lost, but I really need to think hard and really look and see what the next couple weeks become before I can make any sort of decision. But I had that little bit of an injury that really didn't hurt me on any of my long runs or my normal runs, but I couldn't get my speed work in. Speed work was going to be very, very important, because I was looking for a very fast race here, faster than what I've ever done at the half marathon. And so I have not been able to really do exactly what I wanted to do. So I had kind of a week and a half period there that I was not really hammering those track workouts and long and really fast workouts, tempo runs and whatnot. I was just kind of hanging back, just kind of, the norm. And then after that, started getting sick, went to the doctor, and ended up having pneumonia. And so I have not run in 12 days. And that,
wow.
It's not a good thing. And this is all leading up to Rally. And then with Rally, I went into to about 3 days of just very little sleep, very long days with pneumonia. and so I've really pushed my body really to the point of exhaustion. And so I've had a couple days to where I've got a lot of sleep and I've got some rest, but I've really taken a lot of steps back. And so I would say probably about 5 or 6 days ago, I was really, really upset with myself. Really, I was not depressed, but I was just really sad that all this work that I've done, that I really felt like that I was just taking steps back, and worried about, well, how am I going to make that up? How am I going to get myself exactly where I need to be so that way I can just nail that goal that I wanted to the whole time? And I was really stressing about this, and I just got to the point to where it's like, no, I'm not going to worry about this. I've gone too far past the point of making things up. I think that I can still go out and have a really good day and put an effort that I know is going to be 100% of what I'm physically, my physical abilities will allow me to have, but I'm not going to have that PR day. I've accepted that, and I think I can get close, but I know that I'm not even going to try, because I'm going to end up just burning myself up in the process. And so what I'm doing is I'm backing off my goal, and I'm going to I'm going to try to have a good day. I'm going to try to have a very good quality race, to where, maybe I can negative split this thing, really good and cross the finish line knowing that I gave my best that day. But I don't think it's going to be a PR quality attempt just because of the injury aspects of it, the sickness, and then the time off. And so, I'm just accepting this as just the reality of it. A lot of times I like to watch and see what the elites do. Not that I'm anything near that sort of caliber, but I see I see how they train and how they live, their running lives. And I see that, sometimes they take a DNF and you think, well, why in the world did you do that? Well, you know what? It wasn't going to happen that day, and they know it because they know their bodies. And I think I've done this long enough that I know myself and I know my body, and I think that I can, I think that I can tell that I'm going to be in over my head if I try to PR. And so, anyway, I'm just going to try to have a good day and just do the best I can.
Yeah, that's definitely all you can do. Now, Miss Crystal, we know you have Tunnel Hill coming up in November. What else is on your schedule for the year? Because you're still broken too a little bit, correct?
I am. And May was supposed to be a big month for me where I was actually planning. I do a little bit opposite of Andy, where I tend to collect races instead of just going out and crushing them. I'm a little bit past. The thing is now I'm old and slow. So I've been doing quantity over quality. And part of it leading up to Tunnel Hill is a great excuse too, because then I just use some of these races as just training runs. But I'm a little bit broken. So I was supposed to be doing the Flying Pig coming up. Then I had another Mother's Day race I was going to do. Then I had a 50K that I had planned. And so right now I'm kind of all of those, the pig's out for sure. I've deferred to next year. The rest are kind of up in the air, and actually it kind of depends because I did something that I said I was not going to do. And I am hiring a coach.
All right.
And so, yeah, so it's actually somebody I'd worked with before. And so that officially launches on May 15th. So I'm going to kind of float stuff past him. So really the only next for sure thing up is Rut.
Ruts. Andy.
Rut.
No.
Don't use your frozen screen like you don't hear us.
No, I hear you loud and clear, and I want to go. I'm going to say that right now. I want to go. I don't know if I can make it happen or not, but I know that my parents have a nice camper, and I would love to take that 6 hours to the east to Ruts and maybe take a barbecue grill with me. And I think that, I'm not even thinking about the race because I mean, that is like maybe third or fourth down the line. I'm thinking cool camping trip. I'm thinking fun times and a big honking beef brisket on the smoker during the 10 hours while we're running around a stupid little track. And I think that'd be just about right to, smoke one up and have a nice feast afterwards.
I agree.
That's the perfect breakfast.
I think so.
So you're going to come, right?
That's what I heard.
I'm working on it.
Okay.
I got to get a hall pass.
Okay.
I'm working on it.
Because I was just thinking here, I need to find some excuse music to put into this. You need me to talk to your wife? I better not. She doesn't like me already.
No, she's like, Steven. No, better not. I'll work on it. I'm still working on it. Give me time.
All right. You got any tips for him, Crystal?
Well, see, what you need to, it's how I sold it is that we're going on a camping trip. It's going to be cool. It's very family oriented. So it's a family event. They get to sleep while we're doing our thing. There's going to be other kids there to play.
Well, hang on. Are you wanting to like guy road trip out, or are you wanting to bring the family? Because you might need different tactics.
Oh.
She has no desire to go whatsoever.
Okay.
None. No, this would just be me.
Okay. Well, so you'd be swinging by to get me, right?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
See, I don't have advice. I just go, oh, I'm doing this.
That's not going to work, really?
Yeah, see, guys can't do that, Crystal.
But I disagree because my husband goes off and does stuff all the time. Like he's headed out. He's going to a car show in LA this weekend. So I think that's kind of it. We have the give and take. So he's doing his guy thing. And then, so when I want this kind of stuff, I have the free pass.
You should
Like I
write
said,
a book.
I'm working on it. Give me time.
Should the show send her flowers or something?
Oh, that would be great. Yes,
Yeah.
do it.
That's a good idea.
Can Andy please come out and play? Oh boy. Well, hopefully we can get Andy out there because I think there's going to be quite a few Heartlanders coming out there. We've been.
I sure hope so. But anyway, I'll keep you guys updated and let you know how the process is going.
Yeah, I've been promoting the discount code we have for ruts, which I think it's almost full. Last time I checked, I think it was like 92% full or something. So if you want to run, you better take advantage of it now and sign up.
Okay.
Because all the cool kids will be there.
One of us.
Dang right. Well, does anybody have anything else they need to add?
I'm good.
All right. We got time for a random subject wheel, or we want to call it a short one?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's go.
All right. Let me turn this up here. Okay, Crystal, we're going to indoctrinate you correct, and we're going to do something we haven't done in quite a while, the random subject wheel. And I don't even remember what's all on it. Let's see. Runner versus jogger, shoes. Ooh, that'd be a good one because you got some cool new shoes too. We'll have to get it. Yeah, she's rocking some Carsons now, Andy.
Nice.
Let's see. Let's just spin it. We don't need to tell all of them. All right, we ready?
Ready.
All right.
Oh, this will be a good one for you broken people. Cross training.
What is that?
Hey, I found out yesterday what it is because, as I said, I'm taking at least a week off from running, probably 2. So I went to the gym yesterday, and they have these things called exercise bikes and weights. I didn't know about them either, Andy. It was news to me. But so anyways, I was there for about an hour and left. Came home fine, and I was sore this morning. So yeah, it does exist. It is a real thing, cross training. But but anyways, I think cross training is important to keep everything up. As everyone knows, I like to do yoga. I consider that cross training. And honestly, that's about all I do. I've been in the market for a bike, but real yoga is about all I do besides some body weight exercises. And I know I need to do more. Now, Miss Crystal, I know you are a cross training queen. What
I am right now because because being injured, and every time I kind of discover cross training, it's again because I've been injured. I really know I need to throw it in on a regular basis, and when I'm doing it on a regular basis, everything's great. And then you hit that point of I just want to run. I got to get in these miles. I don't have time. The excuses happen, and then I get injured. I fell in love with road biking, and I got my road bike last year after a stress fracture. And I was terrified of cycling for the longest time. And now I absolutely love it. Right now, I'm mostly doing rides. I have my road bike inside on a trainer, but I have all of the sensors and stuff so I can track my mileage and do all of that. So I've been doing that somewhat on a regular basis. I do try and strength train. And it's one of those things that when I let it go, sure enough, I get injured. And the funny thing is I do actually really enjoy it. It becomes that time issue. And so those are really kind of the two go-to things. I would love to do yoga, and I got to figure out a way to make it work. But
now, do you incorporate cross training like daily, or do you just have a cross train day, or just, I think today I'll do this?
So when I'm working with a coach, that's one of the other reasons why, because he's really good about putting all the stuff together. I try and make a point of strength training and doing that type of thing 2 to 3 times a week, at least 2. And I kind of throw it in when I can, and I know I'll get to it. And then other than that, the one thing when I'm ultra training, the other cross training that I do throw in is walking. Mm-hmm. Because when you're doing 100 miles or you're doing those, you do end up spending a lot of time walking, and walking is very different than running. And there were times that, you think if you had to go out and walk a marathon, what a nightmare that would be if you haven't trained to walk a marathon.
You haven't seen my marathon times.
No, I'm not saying I haven't been walking, but if you went out from start to finish and did it, it's different muscles, it's those types of things. So I actually try and incorporate a day of just, walking and learning to walk quickly.
Now, I know you mentioned yoga is something you wanted to try. Are there any other cross-training activities you'd like to try that you haven't done yet?
There's stuff that I'd like to, we have places here that do the indoor climbing and all that kind of stuff. So I'd always love to try all that kind of stuff. And I always talk about it, but I never do it.
Now, can we take, we have to put this to a vote because I'm not sure if this is cross-training. So, as I said, I didn't get to run my, 50 mile, which is like 90,000 steps and 6,000 calories on Sunday. So instead, we ordered 2 large pepperonis and got some old James Bond movies. Is that officially cross-training?
Okay, that absolutely is. If it's James Bond. Now, which Bond was it?
Oh, baby, we started from the original Dr. No.
Oh, then you're fine.
All right.
You're fine.
Yes.
That's at least 2,000 calories per movie.
2,000 per movie? Okay, because I think I did that for Russia with Love, and You Only Live Twice. So I think I got the equivalent of a 50-mile run-in.
Yeah, you're speaking my language. That's good stuff there.
All right, good. Whew, I was worried about that. What about you, Mr. Andy? I know you are not a cross-training fanatic and keep saying you need to do some more. So where are you thinking you want to go for cross-training? What activities?
Well, as of right now, I'm kind of in the middle of, we've got Stephen, who is being really proactive and doing the yoga for injury prevention. Crystal, who is doing some cross-training stuff that is trying to rehab some injuries that she's got going on there. I'm kind of in the middle to where whenever I started my whole sickness, broken toe, all that stuff, I was having a little bit of neck issues there. So while I was in the doctor for that, I kind of mentioned that. And so my doctor, he is a marathoner. While he doesn't specialize in sports medicine, he can recognize some issues. And he did recognize that I had some serious flexibility issues. And I would say most likely definitely because of my lack of cross training or anything other than just going out and running. And so I was referred to a sports medicine specialist. And so anyway, for the last month, I have been doing some sports rehab, and so it is not fun at all because I'm trying to get my hamstrings and my calves stretched out to where they're supposed to be, not where they are right now. And so it's a long process. It's very tough. This is another aspect that has made me, really back off on my goal. A lot of it is because we do these stretching tests and see where my flexibility is and where my limitations are, and it's scored on a scale from 0 to 21. 21 would be you're a gymnast, and then 0, I guess you're dead. But anyway, by my flexibility, he was testing where I was, and at 15, then that's where there is a concern for a higher percentage of injury. And as that number gets lower of less flexibility, then your percentage increases. Right now I'm at a 13, and that's not good. And one of the things that whenever we first started, he said, your hamstrings are gigantic. And I'm like, really? That's good, right? And he's like, no, that's really bad. That means you're overcompensating for your lack of glutes, which you have no glutes whatsoever.
So, Andy,
and we're going to fix that.
Andy,
yes,
you got diagnosed with frog ass, didn't you?
I did. I've got frog ass. Yeah, I have no booty, so I need to get me some booty. So anyway, we're working on it. We're getting better. We're increasing my flexibility. And so anyway, I have my daily stretches that I'm doing that are specific and targeting the areas that we've discovered that I have some deficiencies in. And so anyway, this is all part of that process of just kind of rebuilding and starting over. And really right now, I'm just turning my sights towards Chicago in the fall. That let's get this stuff squared away, and he did. He said, I don't know how you run the 5K times that you do with the way that you're set up, because you just have so much stuff that you need to improve on. But once we get you improved, you're going to be scary fast, because you're set up, you're fit, you're ready to go. It's just your body is holding you back. And so while it's sad and upsetting to me that I'm not going to be able to meet my goal this spring for the half marathon, I'm looking forward to the future, and I'm looking forward to, I'm going to step back. I'm going to better myself right now. And then I'm going to come back for the fall. And, hopefully I could just have a smoking fast marathon time and just get my PR there, because I mean, that's some pretty low hanging fruit for me right now.
Right. Well, what I took away from all of that, Andy, is that if you're out trail running with Andy, you don't want him leading the pack because there's nothing to look at.
No, it's not interesting at all. Not at all. Nope.
You can get implants for that.
I think you should go for it, Andy.
I don't even know how to respond to that. Implants? Baby implants?
You got him. They got him. Okay, quick funny story. I'm 18 years old. I'm in the Army, and we're having a big command inspection. The general's coming out, so we're in our dress uniforms, and we're all standing at attention. You know, there's a few hundred of us out there, and, you know, everybody's locked up. And the guy next to me looks down for a second, and there's this guy in front of us. Is I can say his name. His name was Furlough. That was his last name. And all of a sudden, he just whispers, "Damn, Furlough, you got a nice ass." And then all down the ranks, you hear, "Damn, you do." And this general's coming, and we're all cracking up. So from then on, he was called Sweet Booty. So. Oh, with that said, we should probably close the show.
We need to stop now. Emergency. Stop.
That may or may not make it into the final show. But anyways, Miss Crystal, what do you think? You like the podcasting?
Love it. Thank you so much for having me, guys. This was awesome. It was a lot of fun.
Well, we're definitely going to have Miss Crystal back on. Hopefully she'll agree to join the Heartland family here and bring the softer side of running to all of you. Because, you know.
Yes, I'm a very delicate flower.
Hey,
don't tell my family.
Hey, that's my trail name. But anyways, Andy, if people want to contact us and give us compliments or rain hatred on us, how can one do that?
We would love for you to visit heartlandrunning.com, and you can go there for the show notes, for all the random nonsense that we talked about for this show. You can find those notes there. We would love for you to join our Facebook group where we do even more random nonsense, and get on there. It's a lot of fun. If you have any questions, there's a lot of people who are very knowledgeable that they can talk to you about just about anything, just like we do here on the show. We would love for you to call our voicemail, and that number is 417-319-1060. And, if you've got a gear review, if you got a trail that you really like, or you got a race that you want to tell us all about, please do. We'd love to hear about it. We'd like for you to tell a friend. And also anywhere that you pick up this podcast, whether it's iTunes or whatever catcher you pick it up from, then go ahead and give us a review, and that helps everyone find us. And hey, we sure appreciate it. I guess for the first time, we're going to do 3 of us here. So I'm Andy.
And I'm Steven.
And I'm Crystal.
And we want to thank you for sticking us in your ears. Talk to you later.